So hello everyone, good evening and welcome to our community zoning information meeting. We're going to get started here. So to participate in our meeting tonight, please send all of your questions to us via email to the planning email address. It's planning, PLANNING at cityofsouthfultonga.gov. And also, if you have questions or comments for us after the meeting, please also feel free to use that email address to send your questions and comments. So the rezonings and special use permits for tonight will be heard at the March 23rd Planning Commission meeting and the April 13th Council zoning hearing. And the modification tonight will also be heard at the April 13th Council zoning hearing. So our first case for you today is Z2201. It is a rezoning request at the intersection of Wilkerson Mill Road and Ono Road. And the applicant is seeking to rezone from AG1 to CUP to construct 312 single-family homes on 156 acres. The future land use for this site is rural neighborhood, and so the proposal is in compliance with the future land use at a density of 2 units per acre. And we can walk you through the site here. So this is Cascade Palmetto Highway. So coming from City Hall, you would make a left at the site and go down to until you get to the intersection of Wilkerson Mill here and Ono Road here. And this is where the site will be. If we take a look at the current zoning is AG1, as you can see, and it's surrounded by additional AG1. And then the future land use, as you can see, also is rural neighborhood. This is an idea of the site plan. There is an amenity here at the intersection of Wilkerson Mill and Ono Road. The lots go through here. The applicant is planning to avoid the stream buffer. And that's how the lot is organized. The applicant was able to send us some elevations. These are some sample elevations of what the homes will look like. They said that each home will have its own 2-car garage, and you'll be able to park a car in the driveway. And here are some few more elevations. The goal here is to make sure that the houses don't all look exactly alike. There's a mixture of siding and brick. And that's the end of that presentation. And I believe the applicant is here.
Yes. Hi, I'm on here.
So let's see if we can find your presentation. Would you like to share your presentation, Danny?
Yeah, I sent it over to you if you have that.
Let's see.
Perfect.
There we go.
Awesome, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny Blumenthal with Battle Law PC. Of course, I'll be a little repetitive from what Ms. Jackson just said, but I'll try to kind of speed through that parts. But of course, we're here to discuss the rezoning at the corner of Ono Road and Wilkerson Mill Road. Next slide, please. Thanks. So again, it's currently zoned AG1. We're seeking to rezone to CUP to allow for a development of 312 single-family detached homes. Next slide, please. So this maybe isn't as good as an image as Ms. Jackson showed earlier, but it's on the corner of Ono Road and Wilkerson Road, kind of on the right side of the screen here at the intersection. Next slide, please. Thank you. We can skip over this. You already showed the zoning map and land use map. Thanks. So here for the site plan, there's a few things I want to just point out to everyone. So there'll be a number of amenities that are proposed with the site plan. So at the bottom of the screen down here, where Ms. Jackson pointed out, there's a clubhouse, a pool, a playground for children and families. There's also going to be a mail kiosk at the front of the subdivision up here. That's where one of the entrances is on Wilkerson Mill. There's an additional entrance also closer to the top of the screen up there on Ono Road as well. There is a cemetery. It's kind of in this little corner here on this, right by this top entrance on Ono Road. That is not something we're touching. We were asked that before. So just to be clear, that is something that will remain there. It's a separate owner, and we will not, disturb that in any way. Coming back to our site, again, it's 156 acres, 312 units, all single family detached. We're only required to have 3.9 acres of open space. And this site plan actually shows just around 65 acres of open space. So it really will be fitting for the rural neighborhood future land use. So again, we're seeking to rezone to CUP. Just what the typical lots might look like. Minimum lot area of 6,200 square feet, just above minimum lot frontage. So the width of the lot is 52 feet. And then there'll be setbacks, minimum of 20 feet from the front, side setbacks of 5 feet, and the rear setback of 20 feet. And there's also some additional amenities kind of throughout, like a pocket park and just some other open space. As Ms. Jackson pointed out, there are a number of streams, and there's a lake on the subject property, but all of those things will remain, untouched. We're not going to disturb any of them. We're not seeking variances to build on them or anything like that. And there'll also be some detention ponds and different stormwater management systems in place that you can kind of see on here a bit, that, were all put in or designed rather by an engineer that to make sure that, the stormwater runoff is not an issue on this site. Go to the next slide, please. Thanks. So we can just kind of slowly flip through these, Marissa. These are just the same elevations that you showed earlier. A mixture of materials and the garage on each of the homes. Perfect, thank you. And we just get a number of questions, the same questions oftentimes for different types of developments that we're proposing. So just to address some of those before we get to the question and answer portion of this. Proposed building materials, it'll be a variety of brick, stone, and siding, and it'll all be incorporated so that it won't be monotonous. It's going to be, varying materials, varying colors, and different facades throughout the entire neighborhood. The unit sizes will range from just over 1,500 square feet to just over 2,600 square feet. So that really will, look attractive to a number of different buyers. There'll be between 2 and 4 bedrooms, and again, 2-car garage on each unit. Amenities will be, the park, the mail kiosk, the pool, and the other things that, were highlighted in the site plan. The anticipated list price will range from just around $370,000 to $423,000, somewhere in that range. It is market driven, but that's the anticipated range as of now. They are anticipated to be available for sale in the fourth quarter of 2024. So at the end of that year, they'll be marketed towards young families, and these won't be marketed towards investors. It's really geared towards finding families that want to buy these homes to live in and to enjoy the area. So at this time, I'd like to just field any questions, and thank you for listening.
So, Mr. Gray, do we have any questions from the community?
No, we don't have any questions in the planning email.
Well, on that note, we'll move on to the next case. Next is CV 22002 and CV 20, that should be 22001. This is a rezoning and request for concurrent variances on Spence Road. So the applicant is seeking a rezoning from AG1 to M1 to construct an indoor construction manufacturing facility. And the applicant in this case would also be seeking a future land use change from rural neighborhood to industrial. They're also seeking 2 concurrent variances to reduce the parking requirement by 50% from 320 required spaces to 160, and to disturb and replant within the 50-foot undisturbed buffer. So this is the site here. There's a collection of parcels actually. So it's about 7 parcels put together, and the facility that they're building is going to go here kind of in the center. There's a stream buffer on the side here, and you can kind of see where the trees are a little disturbed. So there's a stream buffer here, and the applicant is planning to stay outside of the stream buffer. And then again, the current zoning is AG1. And then the future land use is suburban neighborhood. And then this is the site plan that kind of shows how it's going to be organized. Again, this is the stream buffer that they're planning to stay outside of. And then in this area here, this is an entrance here and an entrance here. There's going to be like a truck court here where trucks can pick up materials and things that are coming from the warehouse. And then this is employee parking in this section. And then this is a quick elevations for this one are still ongoing, but this is an example of a rendering that we received from the applicant. And they also had a presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, so again, Danny Blumenthal with Battle Law PC. I'm here to talk about this proposed rezoning on Spence Road, of course, in the city of South Fulton. So we are seeking to rezone from AG1 to M1, as well as to amend the future land use from rural neighborhood to industrial, to allow for a modular construction light manufacturing facility. We're also seeking variances of a 50% reduction in parking spaces, as well as to disturb and replant a portion of the 50-foot buffer, and that would all be to code, to City of South Fulton code. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just a bit of an overview. The applicant seeking to set up a modular construction manufacturing operation, calling Mod City, to help scale the development of affordable housing units throughout the Metro Atlanta region. Modular construction is a sustainable construction method common in Europe and Scandinavia that reduces waste thanks to a controlled indoor construction environment. So again, all of the construction will be indoors. Constructing the units indoor also results in less environmental impact at the development site. The company, Mod City, is an integrated manufacturer and developer of affordable housing. The operation will employ over 200 people and will have capabilities to produce more than 1,800 housing units per year. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just a bit about this, it's sustainable. There's less waste, environmental impact. There's also just less noise and things like that associated because it is contained indoors. The units, the modular units that will be built there, of course, if the zoning is approved, are high quality and energy efficient. And it's just really also an efficient process because it's streamlined and it's kind of like yeah, it's basically a process that they can kind of just go through, and it's very efficient. So for that reason, 50% shorter project schedules, it's less expensive to construct, and therefore it's less expensive to purchase. And this project would deliver 15,000 affordable houses affordable housing units over 10 years. And that's something that's really needed in the Metro Atlanta area. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just some more about this. I apologize. This is a bunch of a bunch of words here, but there's a need for sustainable construction methods. The Metro Atlanta area needs to invest in sustainable construction methods that protect our environment. Supporting the rezoning will demonstrate that City of South Fulton is committed to innovation and environmentally conscious building solutions. There's also a need for stable housing in this market. The project supports high quality, cost effective, and sustainable construction to support the creation of strong neighborhoods and high quality of life. Oakley Industrial Boulevard corridor, although currently zoned for agricultural uses, the properties are directly adjacent to M1 industrial zoned properties to the north, south, and the west. And a number of those they didn't show in the future land use map, and we'll get that up as well in this presentation. But because those are actually in the city of Fairburn, but they are effectively in the same part of the same corridor. Atlanta industrial vacancy. The industrial vacancy rate in Atlanta's market is around 3% right now, which makes it challenging and expensive to find suitable buildings and land for the operation, which was kind of both the location and also just the lack of industrially zoned areas are the reasons why the applicant selected that particular location. Next slide, please. Awesome, thank you. So there's a number of community benefits that will come from this as well. Sustainable construction. Construction of the manufacturing facility will utilize sustainable methods, as I kind of went through before. Tree replacement and buffers. The project will replant trees and provide sufficient buffers to preserve and protect natural environments. Sorry, I messed this up here, but job creation. It'll create 200 plus direct full-time permanent jobs that will offer health insurance, retirement benefits, and profit sharing. Workforce training and career pathways. Unskilled workers will have access to this workforce training program in partnership with Construction Ready with long-term career pathways. So this isn't just that they come in and build the site. These are long-term careers. 15,000 plus workforce and affordable housing units. The project will deliver 15,000 affordable housing units over 10 years. And to be clear, these are not necessarily in the city of South Fulton. These can be kind of delivered and placed around the Metro Atlanta area. This is where they would be constructed though. Environmentally sustainable outcomes. Modular buildings will be Fannie Mae Green Building certified. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just to show you the area over here, I think this hopefully will kind of do a good job of explaining what I was talking about with this corridor if you're unfamiliar. So we're right here. It's currently undeveloped. You can see the creek kind of running through. So this is by the red paint is where this site is. If you go just south, you see this Clean Earth facility. If you go just north, we have Site 1, Landscape Supply Store, US Foods, which is a distribution center, ADESA Atlanta, and I even cropped some of them out here as well at the top of the screen. So this is, while across the street, there are a number of residential, developments, but really surrounding it, especially to the immediate north, is really an industrial corridor, and that's been making that transition into this more industrial kind of use in the past few years. Next slide, please. Thanks. So yeah, so we are in, oh, I don't know if I can show you if you see my cursor, but it's in this AG1 parcel just north of Spence Road. And surrounding it, there's some other AG1 agricultural. There's also M1, which is industrial. There's some R4, C1, which is commercial. So of course that's just a mixture of uses. And then just above it, if you see all that tan, that's because that's outside of the bounds of city of South Fulton. But that was kind of where the heavy industrial area is coming, where I showed on the previous slide. And again, the future land use is rural neighborhood. Next slide, please. Thank you. So yeah, this is the site plan. I think it's a little different than the one you saw previously, just barely. So as you can see from before, there's the main entrance off of Spence Road for employee parking. There's also another entrance just west of it for the trucks that leads back into the truck court. The facility is 320,000 square feet. There's also a stormwater pond in the back there to deal with stormwater management and to mitigate stormwater runoff off of the site. And then, as Ms. Jackson stated previously, there is the stream buffer just west that we will not be disturbing in any way. The site area is just over 33 acres with there'll be buffers as well, 50-foot buffers, and then a 10-foot setback on the front as well. The next slide, please. Thank you. So as Ms. Jackson showed earlier, this is an example of what the facility might look like. Next slide, please. And you can just slowly kind of flip through. I think there's a couple in here of these images that just show what the end product will be. So when they construct in the facility we're proposing, they make these modular units, and then they come and they put them together into something that might look like what you see here, which is just a nice apartment building. Here as well is just another example of what that might look like with the modular units. Again, this isn't what we're proposing for the site. This is just what they might be constructing, or what they would be constructing in the construction facility. And then next slide, please. Awesome. So just a project timeline. There's community engagement now, of course. Zoning will be in March. City council to be in April. And I believe Ms. Jackson already said those dates earlier. We would be seeking to get the LDP, or the land disturbance permit and building permits, in May of 2022. Construction would begin in September of this year, if everything before that goes to plan with no deferrals or anything like that. And then construction would be complete in April of 2023. Next slide, please. And yeah, I'd just like to end on the site plan here. If we have any additional, if we have any questions or comments, I would, be happy to address them now. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Great presentation. I want to make a quick amendment. We said that this was in the rural neighborhood character area, but I think that it's in suburban neighborhood right now, just double checking. So I think it is suburban neighborhood and not rural neighborhood. It won't make that big of a difference, but I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, I can go check on that.
So yeah. So Dana, do we have any questions or comments from community members?
No, we do not.
Okay, awesome. So with that said, we'll move on to our next presentation. So the next presentation is a modification It's for a project that was recently approved in September, I think, of last year, August or September. And the subdivision is called Butner Estates. It's at the intersection of Butner Road and West Stubbs Road. So the applicant is seeking to make some adjustments to the conditions that were approved with Z20008, and the goal is to provide clarifications and remove some inconsistencies. And so there won't be substantive changes in the original conditions. It's mostly just going to be small changes that provide clarification. So the intent isn't changing at all. What's really changing in this situation is more so just the verbiage that we're using. And this modification is going to go concurrently with Z2116, which is the rezoning for phase 2 of this project. So there we go. The site is currently zoned community unit plan, and it is in alignment with the future land use. So this is the site here. You can see that it was partially developed and it has a road, but it doesn't have any structures built yet. And it's the top portion of this parcel here. And so the other project that's being reviewed now is Z2116, and that's for this parcel. And so this entire section is going to have the same conditions. And then as we can see, this is in the rural neighborhood, future land use, and then it's in the AG1. It was zoned AG1, but now it's zoned CUP. And so this is kind of the site plan. This is Butner Road here. And then this is Campbellton Fairburn Road over here. And then it goes Butner Road and then West Stubbs Road. And so this is going to have 2 entrances, one off Butner and one off West Stubbs. And then these are the elevations. Again, they're not changing from what was previously approved. The goal here is to just change some of the verbiage so that they're consistent with one another. And that concludes our presentation. Did you have anything to add, Ms. Blumenthal?
Sorry, I actually wasn't prepared because I thought that this was pulled from the agenda, but should I go over, I mean, I do have a presentation. Should I go over what the changes are? We did have a community meeting already, and we have another one. We just are sending the notices out now where we kind of explained what the changes are.
Sure. Would you like to share that presentation?
Sure. Let me just open it up right now.
And while we're waiting on her, Mr. Gray, do we have any new comments from the community members?
No, we don't.
Could I share my screen, please? Awesome, thank you. I know we didn't have any other, questions, and we have another meeting coming up, but I just want to be as transparent as possible while we're on here. So I'll just read through these and maybe for a few of them just explain why we changed it, but I'll try to be quick to be respectful of everyone's time. So just to be clear, everything that's just typed out in the black font is what was already approved pursuant to Z 20, it should be 008, I believe, in September of 21. Anything with a strike through, of course, we're seeking to eliminate. And then anything with the gray kind of highlighter background is the verbiage that we want to add into the conditions. So for condition 1, the use of the subject property shall be used for the development of no more than 132 single-family detached homes in general conformity with the site plan. And then for this to be changed to received by the Department of Community Development and Regulatory Affairs dated July 16th, 2021. That's the same site plan that was approved. It just shows some clarity because there wasn't a date provided previously. Condition 2, we just wanted to actually specify more and use some of the language that is commonly shows up in conditions that basically just reiterates the standards that are set forth in county code. So the minimum development standards shall be 2,000 square foot minimum heated floor area for single family homes and 2,700 square feet minimum heated floor area for 2-story homes, 7,475 square feet minimum lot area, maximum building height of 40 feet, minimum front yard of 20 feet, front yard stagger shall be a minimum of 5 feet, minimum rear yard 20 feet, minimum side yard interior to the street 10 feet, minimum side yard adjacent to the street 15 feet, minimum building separation 20 feet, and the minimum lot at the building line shall be 65 feet. And again, this is all, we're not making any changes to the approved site plan with any of those. Condition 3, we're just going to keep that. 4, we just want to specify that the recreational area shall include a minimum of a 2,000 square foot pool and a minimum of a 1,200 square foot clubhouse and tot lot. That just means the pool or the clubhouse doesn't have to be exactly 2,000 or 1,200 square feet respectively. Excuse me. They could, be a slightly larger if that's how that works out. Condition 5, certificates of occupancy shall not be issued for more than 50 homes before amenity area is completed. Condition 6, a 50-foot undisturbed buffer shall be maintained along Butner Road and West Stubbs Road, except for approved access points and approved project entrance signs. And these are based on conversations with staff. We could go to the next slide. None of those last 3 are changing.
Are you sharing the screen?
Oh, I am. Sorry, I was used to asking you to change the slide here. Condition 10, essentially, to avoid the reading this entire thing to you, essentially it was saying that we're saying the front facade will be all brick. It must be all brick. And the 3 remaining sides of each home will have a brick water table. So there will be brick on all 4 sides, but the front will be the only thing that is 100% brick. We just got rid of some language about things that are not required by code for condition 11, as far as undisturbed buffers, recreational areas, and other buildable spaces shall be owned, maintained by mandatory HOA. So there will be an HOA, that's not changing. Condition 14, this is the only thing that's kind of we're discussing now with community. As I stated before, we did have a community meeting. The applicant met with a few community members offline, and then we're going to regroup and have another meeting. So our initial intent here was to change from an 8-foot fence to a 6-foot fence on just portions of the site. But again, that's something that is kind of in the works right now that we might be changing based on, concerns of the community. Condition 15, decorative speed tables, which are required every 15 feet in the right of way for the main thoroughfare to ensure internal access for school buses, or as may be approved at the time of the land disturbance permit by the city engineer. And then the final condition, we can really just scratch this. It's really just saying that the facades will adhere to the to condition 10 on here, which is talking about the full front brick, the full front facade being brick, and the water table on the remaining 3 sides. And I think that was all of them. So I know we didn't have any other questions, but I appreciate you listening to me. And we are having a follow-up community meeting for this to address additional questions and comments that we've been hearing from the community. Thank you.
Okay, so that went by pretty quickly. Mr. Gray, one more time, do we have any questions or comments from community members?
No, we do not.
All right, well, thanks everyone for your time, and we're looking forward to seeing these items again soon at Planning Commission. or the council meeting for the modification. So have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.